Okay, here is Algebra 1 Notes number 17. It'll be the first one for Chapter 4, plotting points on a coordinate plane. Make sure you put your name, date, and period. Your essential question is, how do you plot points on a coordinate plane? And the way to do that, to answer it correctly, said in order to plot points on a coordinate plane, you must plot x on the horizontal axis and then go up on the y-axis, up or down, based on the numbers. But you must plot x first and then y. Here you have quadrants as a vocabulary word. Remember, on a coordinate plane you have 4 of them. And just to draw a little coordinate plane here, you have your x-axis, your y-axis, and your quadrants. You go around like a C. This would be quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. So it's like if you were to draw a C on it, or a G for the graph, it wraps around your picture. Okay, here's our first notes. We're just graphing functions. It says graph the function y equals x plus 1 with a domain of -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Then it wants us to identify the function. Alright, so if I look here at my table, let me zoom in a little bit. They give me a domain number that is -2, 1, -1, 0, all these numbers right here. I'm going to put them in the x column going down. Okay, let me fix my lamp, see if it'll lighten up a little bit. I may have to zoom out. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just use my calculator for this feature. I'm going to have the, let me slide that over just a little bit. Alright, I'm going to go into the y equals button here on the calculator. It's the top left hand corner button, and whoops, I got a lot of stuff in there. Let me delete it out. Okay, so in the y1, I'm going to type in my equation that they gave me, x plus 1. Remember, your x button is right here. If I can slide my calculator up, it is beside the green alpha button, and it has an x, a t, it's a theta, and an n on it. If I just push that button, the x will pop up on my screen, and then I need a plus 1 so that my y1 looks like this. Okay, then the first number in my calculator here is -2, so I want to go to table set, which is in blue. So I'm going to push the second button and then Windows, so that I have this feature. This table start, I want it to be at -2 because that's what my table is here. So I'm going to put in a -2 and enter. And then if I want my table to change by 1s, so make sure this is a 1. It may already be in your calculator, and that should be auto and auto. And now I want to actually just go to the table, and on your calculator the table button is over here where it says graph, but it's in blue above it. So once again, everything in blue, I push the second button and then the graph button, and it gives me my table here. So -2, the corresponding y value is, whoops, I pushed the wrong button. -2, the corresponding is -1, so in my table I'm going to put -1, and then the -1 is a 0, 0 is a 1, 1 is a 2, and 2 is a 3. Okay. Now I want to graph this function, so here are my 5 points. Those are actually my coordinates. Remember, this one is my x and this one represents my y values, so my coordinate will be of an xy coordinate. And on my graph that I have here, remember the horizontal axis is your, okay, that's not very good. Ew, that's orange. Let me turn that back off. Okay. The horizontal axis is your x, the vertical one is your y. My first coordinate is a -2, -1, so -2 on my x-axis tells me from the center I'm going to go to left and then down 1, and that'll be my first point right here. My next one is -1, 0, so I'm going to stay right there on the x-axis. I have 0, 1 next, so I'm going to stay in the center and just go up 1. And then I have 1, 2, and then 2, 3. And remember, these are discrete graphs, so do not connect your dots, you're just plotting points. The next item that I have to do with this question is I do have to identify the range. They told me the domain were these numbers, so I have to identify the range. So I'm going to say the range, but your little ellipse is all your all your y values that you found on your table. So it'd be -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and close off your ellipse. Okay, let's go with another example of this. My equation has changed, so I'm going to go back to my calculator. To get back to my equation, I'm going to push the y equals. And now I want to clear this out. My new equation is 1/2 x plus 2. So put it into your y equals. And then my domain, here's my numbers. It starts out with a -6, so in my table, before I go to the calculator, I'm going to have my x's and my y's. The x values are -6, -4, -2, 0, and 2. Okay, so here I'm going to change my table. Actually, I'm just going to go to my table. I'm going to do a second in table, and I need to go up to find -6. Okay, -6 and -1. Okay, -4 I can see on my screen is 0. Okay, -2 is a 1. 0 I can see on my screen is a 2. And then 2, which I can't quite see, I'll move down. 2 is actually a 3. Okay, so I'm going to go to my graph now. Here's my coordinates, -6, -1. Remember, this is your x direction, this is your y. So from this, I'm going to go to the left, 5, 6, and down 1. And now I'm going to do -4, 0, 2, 3, 4, 0, -2, 1, 2, or 0, 2, and then 2, 3. They should kind of look like they're forming a line. If you have plotted them wrong, you'll see it, and I just want dots. And then last I need to identify is the range numbers, which the first column is your domains, the second columns are your range. So I'm going to start with -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Close it off with the little ellipse. Okay. On the back of your notes, I have one more example before I leave you with one to do on your own. And I'm going to go back to my chart. Remember your table, the first one will be your x, the second one will be your y. But this time I have -1/2 x plus 3. Alright, so where do I go first? Okay, I'm going to go to the y equals. I have to clear out what's there, so push the clear button. And now what do I type first? Okay, my equation is negative 1/2 x plus 3. Okay, my domain is on my paper. It says -4, -2, 0, 2, and 4. I'm going to go to my graph. I'm going to, this time, just to remind you, I can go to my table set and have it start at -4. That's good. And notice these are counting by 2. So if you wanted, you could do table change of 2 and then go to your table, which is second graph, and then you can actually see it counting by 2s if you want. Realize there's nothing wrong with going by 1s. But if you wanted to match your table, you can see that the y is a 5, -2 is a 4, 0 is a 3, 2 is a 2, and 4 is a 1. Okay, so just to show you that you could go by 1s, whoops, it's just all spread out. You have a lot of decimals in between everything that you have. It's just spread out. Okay, here we go. Let's go to our graph. And we're going to plot -4 and 5 is my first coordinate. So go to the left and up 5. Put a dot. Next coordinate is -2, so make sure you go back to the origin and go left 2 and up 4. And then 0, 3, that stays at the origin, just count up 3. The next coordinate is 2, 2, so go right 2 and up 2. And then the last point, go right 4 and up 1. There's your 4 points, or actually 5 points. And then we want to identify the range. Okay, the range is which letter? The y's. So that means this is 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 is your range. Okay, on this independent practice, what I want you to do is I'll give you 2 to 3 minutes when you get into class to actually work this one out and have it ready for whenever I actually check to see if you have done this assignment. Make sure you answer your essential question on how to plot coordinates on a coordinate plane. Remember that is just using the x and y axis and following the coordinates of your point.